Christian Miller taking up that.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with New York Giants legend and South Carolina Hall of Famer Corey Miller and his son, 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
And knocked down again. It was Christian Miller.
Here is college football playoff national champion
Christian Miller
on Tide 100.9
and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody's doing great. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day, and hope you guys are ready to talk some football because we've got plenty of it to talk about. Again, we will be previewing some more of this Alabama-Vanderbilt matchup. Did a little bit of an early preview yesterday, pulled up a couple clips. We'll definitely plan on continuing that in today's breakdown of this matchup. Again, it's a college game day matchup. Sounds kind of crazy, still thinking about Alabama-Vanderbilt. But again, I hope you guys understand, man. Vanderbilt is a new program, man, right now under Clark Lee, who's done a great job. Him and Diego Pavia bringing in the coordinator from I forgot, New Mexico State or wherever they came from, but they've completely flipped things around. And I was listening to CBS, and I think I heard a stat. This is the first time since 1937 or something, way back when, that these two teams are meeting in a matchup both ranked, right? So got to put some respect on this Vanderbilt team's name, man. They definitely play some good ball. I went back and had watched a little bit more of the Vanderbilt-South Carolina game. I understand that Sellers was hurt, but still, man, just watching really this offense that they're bringing, which we saw what they're able to do last year in terms of their ability to keep the football, time of possession, and really just spark some big plays, man. It's very interesting to see where they're at now. I'd argue that this team is definitely better than it was last year. And their offense almost seems like it's taken another step from where we talked about those option elements, and we'll continue to talk about that. But now you're seeing even more shots that they're taking. They do get it in the gun, which, again, they did this stuff last year, but you're starting to see even more of it. Basically, what I'm getting at is it's like the offense has evolved even further, and it definitely is going to be quite the challenge for our defense, and we'll talk about those challenges and more here on the show, so make sure you guys are ready for that. Plus, we will be talking with Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson at 12:15. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. He'll be joining us here on the Miller's Edge. I believe this is his first time coming on here, but I know he does a lot of good work covering Alabama football. So we got him coming on at 12:15 to discuss this matchup between Alabama and Vanderbilt and a number of other things, all Alabama related. So make sure you guys are ready for that. And per usual, got to remind you about our friends over at the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Try before you buy, nothing to lose. Make sure you guys check them out if you haven't already. If you're dealing with any type of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it, they'll take care of it. Right there at the Good Feet Store, located in Midtown Village off of McFarland Boulevard. Again, these things are game changers. Just throw them in your shoes. They get to work with their shoes, boots. I mean, hell, even heels probably, because they have the little stick pads that you can put underneath, or at least in the sole. But make sure you guys check them out. I promise they can explain it even better than you. I can just tell you by my experience, these things are the real deal, especially if you're on your feet a lot, and nurses, teachers, whatever it may be. You're in the gym a lot. You're always walking dogs like I am. Check them out, man. These things are lifesavers. Again, that is the Good Feet Store, goodfeet.com. You can find more information in the nearest location to you. Again, that is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Couple other things that we'll dive into as well. Player interviews from yesterday. I know, I believe Ty Simpson, Parker Brailsford was in there. Trying to think of who else. There are several player interviews from yesterday, so we'll definitely probably pod those up and listen to them. Definitely listen to Ty Simpson, who also has been receiving a lot of recognition this week after his performance against Georgia, going on the road and leading that team to a big victory over the Bulldogs. So we'll hear from him. We hadn't heard from the coordinators just yet, but I'll probably try to, I guess, not necessarily clip it up, but just pot it up. That way we're not listening to the whole thing, because that will probably take a good bit of time. And I don't want to run out of time. But again, we got plenty of interviews we'll dive into. And also want to talk with you guys. 205-342-9904 is the number to the phone lines if you guys want to get on the action. I promise I'm trying to get to the phone lines quicker. That way we can get everybody on here. And I think we've been doing a little bit better with that. So we're going to continue that as well. Plus, we've gotten back to the app messages. So Tide 100.9, download that app. It's right there on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, all that good stuff. You can find it there. And if you download it, you can leave app messages, voice messages. So if you can't call in, if you got a rant or something you got to get off your chest or just want to chime in, you can record a voice message and we can play it live on air. So we got all types of stuff. We got the stream at the Miller's Edge on YouTube. We got the app you can download with the app messages, all that good stuff. Facebook, we're live streaming on Tide 100.9. The Miller's Edge is everywhere for you guys. So hopefully you guys are taking advantage of that. Real quick before we hit this first time out and really dive into some stuff, man. Some more updates on the whole Johnny Manziel thing, right? I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday. He'll be in town. He's making an appearance at 2 times. He's going to be on the sideline rocking a Pavia jersey, right? I think he's kind of just doing it because he likes the attention, but who knows? But he has some more stuff that he said. This is coming from On3. I'm just reading. This isn't from the whole article, but just the quote that it leads off with. It talks about him saying, I'm like, learn from my mistakes, brother. Learn from Johnny. Don't beat Johnny off the field. I beat them once. Diego's got a chance to beat them twice. That's the kind of stuff they build statues for. So I guess if anybody was wondering if Alabama still holds weight in terms of the brand, they allegedly claim that if you beat Alabama twice, you get a statue built. Chase Reed, it's kind of crazy, right? I mean, like, I feel like people can't make up their minds, man. 1 minute they're making it seem like, we're just like the rest of the pack, which, I mean, if you're saying our results on the field, sure, I can understand that. But on the other hand, they're talking about building statues if this guy potentially beats Alabama 2 times in a row, which is not going to be easy for him either. I know we're talking about the challenges of defending them, but you look at Alabama, the way we've been playing the past 3 football games outside, after that Florida State Week 1 loss. I mean, we've been playing some really good football, and I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they're going to have quite the answer for our offense as explosive as we've been in all the weapons that we have. So definitely looking forward to this matchup and definitely looking forward to talking about it. So let's do this. Let's hit our first timeout. When we come back, we'll dive into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge. We'll start with the player interview, I think. I think we'll start with Ty Simpson's interview or maybe a coordinator interview. We'll choose since that's 2 days behind. We'll figure that out. But we'll start there. We'll start diving into this matchup. I'll throw some clips up on the screen like I did yesterday that we can talk about, take a look at, preview some things. So make sure you guys, if you want to see that, watch that, make sure you head on over to the YouTube stream at the Miller's Edge or Tide 100.9's Facebook page. You can watch the live stream there as well if you guys would like to see those breakdowns during the show. All right, quick timeout. We come back. We get rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by our good friends at the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their...
All right. Who we got in here? Let's see. LK's in Charlotte, man. Love Charlotte. Obviously, I used to live there when I was with Carolina. Great place. Great place. It's nice, man. Got a wide variety of stuff there. I mean, you got Uptown, you've got South Park area, you've got all like the communities around it, man. Hell, you got Carowinds right across the line. You got the Rock Hill area. You got obviously the big lake. What is it? Because there's 2. Damn, why am I drawing a blank? Damn, what is the name of the lake in Charlotte? I'm forgetting. There's 2 because you got the one on like the border, then you got the main one. Man, I guess it's been that long. Jake, what's up, man? Yeah, this week does feel like it's flying by a lot faster. It's already Wednesday, man. It was that anticipation last week. That's what it was. Phil, what's up, man? Roll Tide. Yeah, I'm excited. I think this game's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. If anybody doesn't plan on attending the game, make sure you guys, if you like music, my brother's playing at a music festival in is it Huntsville, I believe. Oh, God, here we go. Not this again. Okay, we're back. It's a big breakaway festival. Shaq is also DJing there, like Shaquille O'Neal. I know you're probably like, Shaq. Yeah, he DJs on the side for fun, man. But I just had to give my brother a plug, man. It's a big Big festival. It's called Breakaway. It's cool. Let's see. Yeah. Happy October. That's right. Month of Halloween, man. Bro, I pray this is not one of those days where this internet or this stream is acting funny. Let me go ahead and close out some of this crap. I don't need none of it. We don't need none of that nonsense today. Let's get this Ty Simpson video. All right, let's do this. Hold on, guys. I'm going to get back to the chat. Let me just pause this video up real quick. Let me get this potted up. All right, so we got Ty, we got Isaiah Horton, we got LT, got a bunch of them. They're all pretty short, at least from this. So we'll get Ty up first, and then we'll roll from there. All right, thank you, Chase. Yeah, I was about to say, I figured we were good, but it was acting like it was like refreshing stuff. Lake Norman, thank you. Yeah, Lake Norman is super nice area in Charlotte. You work near Carowinds. That's cool, man. And as a matter of fact, it's October, so it turns into Scarowinds. I don't know if you guys have ever been in that area, but it's cool, man. They turn the theme park. Carowinds is kind of like Six Flags, right? It's an amusement park, but during the month of October, it turns to Scarowinds at night, and they have like a bunch of like haunted houses and stuff, man. Real cool. I went to it like for the first time when I was way too young to be going there. I was in like 5th grade, man. I went with my friend. His parents took us. All right, here we go. Clint's great Twitter follower, really knows ball breaks things down well. Yeah, we got him coming up at 12:15, so he'll be joining us then. NIL revenue share thing or a good coach for Vandy? I'll be honest with you. I think the coach has completely transformed the culture and that whole program. I mean, he's doing a great job. But I will say, I mean, them obviously going to the transfer portal and bringing in, guys like Pavia, then they hired that offensive coordinator as well. I mean, they've done a number of things to be able to turn things around. It's not really just one thing, I would say. But, I mean, you got to tip your hat to Clark Lee. I mean, he's been phenomenal. You've been gone on vacation for the last week, but you're back. Yeah, it was a good game Saturday for sure. More I go back and watch it, though, I will say, man, I just got to find a way to, and I know Georgia adjusts, and you already knew that, right? That the second half, they were going to adjust and play some, better football, but just got to make sure that we're able to do that. Because you look at the Wisconsin game and then Georgia games, I know, again, teams adjust, and they're going to try to, put their best foot forward, but just want to make sure that we really maintain, because we've been starting out really hot, which is good, but got to continue to finish. How important is Danny Lewis back in the running game? Huge, and I said he was going to be real helpful there.
Less than Brandon.
If you go back and watch, man, he has some really nice blocks. So I'm glad that he's back. I think that helps out a lot and could help out big at the running game.
And
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Getting ready to do some more Alabama Vanderbilt previewing of this matchup. Again, they do travel to Tuscaloosa. College game day will be here, 2:30 kick Central Time. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about it. And first, we're actually going to hear from Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson, who spoke to the media post-practice yesterday. So this is what QB1 had to say.
Dials you in. Do you feel the same way that like almost making a possible mistake kind of helped you lock in?
Yeah, absolutely. I know better than that, right? I was trying to make a play. I knew, Zay was open early, but I just tried to do too much. You know what I mean? after that, right, I was like, all right, like, just take a deep breath, right, just relax, go do, go do what I do, make the easy part easy, and just, calm down and go through my reads. And so after that, I felt like I really just, took in the experience and just played ball.
So I know you weren't actually starting quarterback a season ago for the transition from Georgia to Vanderbilt, but how do you sense that you guys have flipped the page compared to last year between those two games?
Yeah, like you said, right, I wasn't playing, but I was on the team, and so I felt how it was last year. You know what I mean? But the mentality of the locker room this week, right, is what about we remember, you know what I mean? Like, we remember what happened last year. What are we going to do about it? Even though it's not about last year, it's about us.
New and existing customers can get the new
we got a
iPhone
quick
17 Pro on us on
iPhone
the best 5G
timeout.
network.
And we are back in about 2 seconds. Sorry. Which I'm trying to get my new iPhone, but they're not in stock. Here we go.
Same mistake again. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna, they're not the same team last year. Neither are we. You know what I mean? Like, they're better, and we're better in some ways. So we, this is a top 25 matchup. College game day coming in here. Like, this is a really, really, really good Vanderbilt team. And if not one of the biggest games of the year, you know what I mean? So, we need to come in with the mentality like we have been all of these past couple games, like a chip on our shoulder, and it's Alabama against the world.
Has Caden been campaigning for more targets this week after?
Yeah, he's trying to. He's told me the other day, he was like, I can catch the ball, and I would see if I can throw the ball. And I was like, no, you stick to catching and let me stick to throwing.
What was the success rate in practice for that play? Was it?
So we ran it. Yeah, so we ran it a couple of times, right? And we ran it in camp against our defense. And we had told him, right, hey, like, wipe off your hands, like, we're coming to you, because it's, freaking hot and sweaty, right? And he was like, all right. And we had ran it a couple times to walk through. So sure enough, right, one of the scrimmages, we do it, we throw it to him, hit him in his chest, and he drops it. So, we were campaigning, right, like, hey, get on the jugs just in case. So he's been great ever since, though.
All the old linemen on the jugs now? Are they?
No. They've been on the pads, on the blocking sled, so they're doing a great job.
Is there like a depth chart for that play? Like, who's next in line after Proctor for that?
Maybe 2 quarterbacks. We'll see. Keep you on your toes.
Have you met Diego at all for camps or anything like that?
I've not. I got a ton of respect for him, though, man. Like, he's a dog. He plays with a chip on his shoulder as well. Like, watching him and their highlights throughout, the season, man. Like, seeing last year, he gets a ton of respect from, Johnny Manziel. Like I said, man, ton of respect for that guy. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. It's going to be a good game, man. Like, we got a good defense. They got a good offense. So it'll be exciting.
A lot of talking as a kid at all.
Oh, of course. Like, who didn't? You know what I mean? Like, it'll be it'll be good. He's going to be here, right? I saw, Theo Vaughn came through here. I know he's close with, Diego. Just a ton of respect for him, man. And those guys on offense at Vanderbilt do a really good job. So, we need to do a good job this week of, just being on our P's and Q's, right, and understand all the versatile stuff that those guys do, and just, be us.
A lot of talk about, poise and confidence on the road at Georgia. Like, heading into week 5, do you feel, I guess, confident in your ability to run Ryan Grubb's scheme? And is
YouTube Premium is ad-free.
Another timeout there. Here we go. And about there.
Like,
I have a ton of confidence, right? It's because of that guy right there. It's one of my center, right? It's the guys around me. It's the coaches. It's my team in general. Like, there's no other place in the country I want to play for. There's no other guys in the country I want to play with. You know what I mean? Like, be on the field with those guys, like, gives me comfort. My Lord and Savior gives me comfort. Just being able to play football, because I felt like I didn't take it for granted, but I just missed it the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Like, being able to compete all the time and compete every day, like, it just is a different type of feeling. So being able to step on the field with those guys is just a blessing and a great opportunity.
Tyler Booker showed up wearing your jersey on Sunday Night Football. Parker was saying that he called you after the game in Georgia. What's your relationship still like with him, and how much was his leadership still felt in this locker room?
Yeah, no, I mean, he called me and Parker on the bus after the game, right? Like, he called. He probably called me 3 times, between kickoff and then after the game. Like, he was as tuned in as he could be, like he was on the team, right? But Book is why I'm here. Book is why I stayed, pretty much, right? Like, he's my best friend. We came in together. We literally, like, on our official visit, we were there together. You know what I mean? And we kind of talked, and we were like, "Are we coming?" And we were both like, "Why not?" And so, in the the circumstances that I had, I talked to him about a lot of stuff, and he's one of my best friends, right? And, Parker is one of my best friends. Those guys who protect me, and him wearing my jersey Sunday Night Football, he called me like, what a guy, man. Like, he didn't have to do that. I love him to death, and him being not on the team, but always talking to us is a huge. It happens. His voice is still heard. You know what I mean? Because we have a ton of respect for him and guys like that.
Hey, Ty. So that pass to Caden Proctor, were you scared that he was going to drop it? Were you nervous at all?
No comment.
Come on, bro.
No, I had full confidence. You know what I mean? I was just worried about, the center and making his call.
What have you seen from Miles Capers on film as a pass rusher?
Man, he's the real deal. He flies upfield. He flies around the ball. They get the ball out, on the whole defense. Like, these guys are, very physical, very fundamentally sound, man. Like, we've been harping all week, all practice, right, about like being disciplined and, making our calls right and playing with good technique, right? Because that's what's going to separate us, this week. Like, these guys, know their scheme, they know what to do, they know their calls, and we just need to, make sure, right, that we, it's all about us. We said it last week, right? Great technique, great calls, great execution, right? Because these guys, understand what they do. They're physical, they fly around, and they play for one another. So, they play great complementary football, and, we just need to make sure, right, that we're on the right mindset.
You've got a few games under your belt now. What is it like being a leader at the University of Alabama?
It's a dream come true. You know what I mean? Like, I came here, wanting to be a captain, wanting to have the opportunity to lead a team to a championship, right? Always dreamed about playing the SEC, playing in big time games like this one, like having college game day here. And then, the fact that I get to, put my foot in, getting chimes and be, represented for the rest of my life as an Alabama captain and bring my kids back here one day and my grandkids, like, what more could you ask for? You know what I mean? Like, this is the mecca of college football. And the fact that God's given me the opportunity and the platform to be here is, amazing. I thank him every day that, I get to live out my dream.
Sorry, what do you remember? Sorry, you already mentioned this a little bit, but what do you remember from the Vanderbilt Field Storm last year? Like, what emotions went through your mind?
Yeah, it hurt. I'm gonna be honest, right? One, being from Tennessee, Nashville. I remember visiting Vanderbilt, and then two, the fact that, like, we had, just found our identity with a big win like we did last week. You know what I mean? And so the fact that we went in there and, we didn't play our best and they stormed the field, right? Nobody likes a, field storm. So, that's in the back of our mind. And, we don't want to remember last year, but we also want to understand that, like, last year happened. It can't just go away, right? But it's all about us and this year. You know what I mean? Like, they're not the same team as last year. If, they're better than they were last year, right? And we're better than we were last year in some ways. You know what I mean? So, we need to understand that, like, we're focused on us, focused on what they do on their scheme, right? But it's all about us. Keep a chip on our shoulder. Alabama against the world, and, we're the men in the arena, right? No matter where we play and who's it against, right? We're the gladiators, and that's the Coliseum.
All right, so there you go. That was QB1 Ty Simpson speaking to the media yesterday. Obviously, not enough. A lot of things that he said that we'll talk about and break down when we come back. After this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Again, we will be joined by Clint Lamb at 12:15, so we'll look forward to that. But in the meantime, we'll keep breaking some of these things down, go to the tape a little bit, and keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Kentuck Art Festival is coming to Snow Hinton Park October 11th and 12th. Listen for your chance to win tickets. Bring the entire family. Enjoy food, fun, and one of the largest art shows in the Southeast. For more info on the festival, go to kentuck.org.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or think we'll be all right if we don't get them we don't give them pick sixes and make boneheaded plays like two of the same number on the punt team. Yeah, that kind of stuff definitely wasn't ideal. The start really killed us in that game last year. We just couldn't come back from it. They controlled the time possession. I mean, I think they had the ball damn near 70% of the game, which was crazy. So you're right. That was a big issue last year, not getting off the field on third down, how we started. Offense didn't play terrible, but you're right. Critical, those penalties in those critical moments definitely got us bad too. For sure. Cutie says, Bama 49, Vandy 24. I can see it. I think it'll be a little closer than that. I mean, just watch them. I mean, they're a good team, man. Matter of fact, I can throw this on here. Where is I at when I? Yeah. I know we talked about the shovel yesterday. They ran it versus South Carolina. South Carolina played it well, but their back made a nice play spinning out of it. They ran a shovel, then reverse. I mean, they're going to do a number of different things, especially after watching that Florida State game. Best believe, I think they're going to do some stuff similar to what we saw against Florida State, especially with how effective they were. Here, wait, where'd it go? They just ran a shovel. Oh, wait, here it is. Let me speed it up so we ain't got to worry about the copyright stuff. There you go, shovel pass. But just like I said, man, it's all about just playing your keys, right? It's really not as complicated as people make it seem, right? Down block immediately. What do I say every time? You guys can play defensive end at this point. As much as I talk about it and break it down, I mean, you guys already know what to do. When you're reading your key as an end, what do you do when you get that down block? You transfer your eyes and you look to what? Close. You're closing. Why do we do that? Because again, that doesn't allow him to just climb up, because you see what happens when you don't close, you run upfield. The design is to give him the ball. You're taking yourself out of the play, then you're giving a free blocker to climb. That's why, see what I mean? That's why the shovel pass, if you don't close and you don't play your keys, it can be so effective. But even with him getting upfield, this backer did a good job, or those in that safety initially, but the back just made a good play and spun out of it. And welcome back into Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Just got done listening to Ty Simpson speak to the media yesterday, talking about a number of things, a couple of things back in that Georgia game, his confidence in Caden Proctor. I guess, he said no comment. I'll be honest, I don't blame him, man. I mean, big guys catching the football, something they don't normally do. I'd be a little nervous myself, but execution was great. But now I guess my thought, Reed, Chase, is like, obviously, they still have that play, but people are going to be more keen to it. They're going to be alert when they see that kind of stuff. But how do they build off of it, man? I mean, if I had to guess, I know what Caden Proctor's thinking, because he asked about throwing the ball. He's probably thinking a double pass, right? Toss it to him. People think he's about to run and then have somebody running down the field. But I think that's where we draw the line, guys. Him catching the ball, I think he needs to be good with that. I do not want to see him throwing the ball, especially doesn't he wear like all these damn braces on his shoulder and stuff? That sounds like a disaster. But I mean, I can see you faking that play, going back the other way or something like that. I don't know, but I definitely think they build off of it. But speaking of I guess gimmicky plays, I've got pulled up on the stream. I know yesterday we were talking about the shovel play that worked really well for Vanderbilt last year. They ran it against South Carolina. You see it come up in the second quarter here. And again, definitely will expect them to maybe pull it out. But I'll be honest, just like I said yesterday, I feel like going into this game, if Kane Womack is not preparing these guys to see all these things that they saw last year and that you've seen on tape, I mean, I just would be shocked. I genuinely feel like they're probably going to be – defense is probably going to be working their tails off through practice, because, I mean, this Vanderbilt offense is just so many different things. And this is just a highlight that I have pulled up on here. So it's not every single play in the sequence. However, one of the next plays that comes up is a reverse that they get to. they run a number of different things, but that option-based offense is definitely tough, and we got to be disciplined. We definitely got to be disciplined. Looking at their defense, though, I'll be honest, they do a good job stopping the run. They base more out of that 4-2-5 look. But secondary, we talked about yesterday in terms of their passing defense isn't great. And I don't know. I know the numbers look good against them stopping the run, and I know they had some big numbers, I think, against Utah State. I believe they had like 3 sacks and at least like 6 or so tackles for losses. So they're very disruptive, but that's Utah State. Just watching their guys, I mean, they're good players, but they don't like blow me away. And I feel like they might come to reality when they face an Alabama football team. I know South Carolina is an SEC opponent, and they had some higher expectations going into the year. But just watching even that Carolina team, I wonder if my dad's going to jump on here because I would love to get his thoughts because he watched that game through and through live. And I don't know. His Gamecocks right now, man, they're a little I don't know. They're a little shaky to me. But that being said, we'll keep diving in this. I guess I could let this play. I just feel bad for the radio listeners because they can't necessarily see this. But on the screen, we've got the shovel play. And I was telling everybody in the chat that by this point, you guys know the drill, man. If your key block's down, you got to close. They don't do that. He climbs up to the quarterback. And then the lane, he actually did a nice job kind of reverting back. And they had 3 carries right here. But nice play by the running back, spinning out of it and making something out of nothing. They end up getting the first down there. But those are types of plays you see out of these guys, man. They're scrappy. They're tough. I mean, this is not the same Vanderbilt team. I know we talked about that last year, but even just watching them this year. And it's interesting because like watching their offense, you guys hear me talk about Tennessee and what they do, right? Their whole thing is like they're spreading you out. They end up running the ball a whole bunch, right? Because you have to respect the splits and the receivers because they will throw the ball. They do a lot of stuff out of that. But they also really want to run the football. And then they get you light in the box. Vanderbilt is almost like flipping that. Vanderbilt runs a lot of options, a lot of running the football a lot. They got a quarterback that they call a bunch of design run for. So what does that mean? You have to respect the running game, and then you load up the box because you have to. Because of personnel, they're in a lot of 12 personnel, 21 personnel. They're trying to run the football. But then what they build off of that is they'll take shots. And so when you do load the box, they know there's less guys dropping in coverage, and they look to try to take advantage of that. So it's almost like flipping the whole Tennessee method or the philosophy of what they do offensively. And you see right here, on this play right here, they're working out of the gun, but still, I mean, they'll throw the football too, right? So, and then they've been throwing a lot more, I feel like. I mean, Diego Pavia does a really nice job as well. I mean, you just see right here, containing him is going to be huge in this game. Obviously, with the whole option attack, that's the first battle, but the second one is, in terms of pass rush lanes will be huge because he's obviously very talented when it comes to the scramble drill, being elusive, finding different things. As you see right here, I mean, he's rolling out, scrambling, and he just dumps it off to the check down the back right there. Carolina had that play pretty much handled. Back catches it for a 4-yard, like a 4-yard gain, makes a couple guys miss and ends up picking up the first down. Stuff like that and keeping them on the field. You can't have that in this game. We looked at last year's game, and if you guys remember, the whole tale of last year's game was time of possession. We got dominated in, and part of that, which is my next part, is we couldn't get off the field on third down. Now, we've been doing much better at that this year. Georgia game, we were great. I think Georgia's 2 of 8 on third down, so that's going to have to carry over because that obviously was a huge issue last year. Next play on here, you see right here, they run the reverse, right? So, and not only that, I like this play out of Pavia, man. I mean, he becomes a lead blocker. You see him, he's getting downfield. Look at him rolling on his shoulder. I mean, it's not one of those where the quarterback just kind of gets in the way. I mean, he's dropping hat. And it was a very clean block. I mean, he kind of took a little bit himself, but ended up being a really nice block, and they pick up another first down. So defensively, man, again, I can't preach it enough, man. Discipline, assignment, football. You got to have good eye discipline and just good discipline in general in terms of doing your job and not trying to do too much, or you will get beat, right? I'm not necessarily saying like beating the game, but I'm saying beat on a play, get beat on your, on your assignment. You got to be disciplined. You got to take care of business. But I'll keep breaking some of this stuff down. But as you guys see, man, this offense, man, It's very effective. They do a really nice job running it, and they've gotten even better, just like you heard Ty say. I mean, they're a better team than they were last year, if that tells you anything. So if you hear anybody in the media that's saying, like, oh, it's just Vanderbilt, and they're kind of just brushing it off, don't listen to them. Because when you turn on the tape, man, really solid football team that can present a lot of challenges. And they've got the confidence to go with it, man. They're not going to lie down. I can tell you that much. All right, we got to hit another timeout to stay on schedule. When we come back, we keep on rolling. We'll continue looking at some of these looks. We'll look a little bit more at the defense here in a minute, too, but we also need to get some of these other player interviews, get to some of these defensive guys to get their thoughts as well. And we'll keep on rolling. Plus, we're open on the phone lines if anybody wants to get on the conversation before Clint jumps on at 12:15. 205-342-9904 is the number. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their showroom to serve you better. Come see their new and pre-owned Mazda lineup, offering fuel efficiency, advanced technology, and plush comfort. Tuscaloosa Mazda, 3100 Skyland Boulevard East, or online at TuscaloosaMazda.com.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt. Excuse me. Let's see. Miss anything in the chat?
Where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft.
Tight end's top receiver. Yeah, I was just reading something else too that I don't think they've had a 100-yard rusher or a 100-yard receiver, but they do spread the ball out a decent amount. But that doesn't shock me one bit if their tight end's a top receiver. I mean, right here they're in 22 personnel. And this is where I get to my point about having the lack of outside backers, which I fully expect us to move guys over from, or even if it's at least one, right? You got to have more. There's no way we're only running with three Wolves for the next few months. But you see right here, this would be 22 personnel because you've got, hold on, let me go on here so I can count. You got one tight end, two tight ends, you got two backs. So that's what we call 22 personnel, right? That's why you see all these guys in the box. Us only having three Wolves, man. I mean, that literally, so you got a true freshman that's going to be starting there when you get those 3-4 looks, and you got one other guy to rotate in there for two guys. There's got to be some movement to help create some depth. I think it'll probably be like Jordan Renaud. If I had to guess, maybe like a Jordan Renaud, maybe Keon or Kia Keeley. There you go. It's a triple option. Dive, pitch. You go with the pitch. That's what we used to run that in high school. My high school ran the wishbone. I used to be putting up yards on folks too, man. And then you see them. Now they're in a trips look literally out of the gun. I mean, so you got to be ready defensively. You got to be ready to rotate. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of stuff. I mean, going from 22, you're facing 22 personnel. Now looks like they're in 11. And they're running the football. You see what I mean? Similar philosophy like Tennessee. They get you spread out, want to run the ball. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. While we're talking about, and we've been talking so much about Vanderbilt's offense, I promise we'll talk a little bit more about their defense here in a minute, but I think offensively, that's the big key here in this game. No disrespect to their defense. Again, they are one of the top rushing defenses in the conference, right? And they're a pretty solid unit. I just believe really the key in this football game. I got full confidence. The way our offense is firing on all cylinders, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm very confident there. What does kind of cause me a little concern is our defense. The fact that we're giving up so many yards on the ground, and this is one of the top rushing teams in the country. And not only that, one of our other kryptonites or our weaknesses is a quarterback that it's got a dual threat ability and can make plays with his legs. Well, this guy pretty much is the epitome of that. So obviously I want to focus my attention there for a little bit, but I promise we'll talk a little bit more about their defense here in a minute. But first, while we're talking about their offense, let's go ahead and hear from one of our guys break down their offense. That was team captain Deontay Lawson, Alabama starting linebacker. He spoke to the media yesterday as well post-practice. So here's what he had to say.
Like it was a day, a step in the right direction, and just got to keep building on the day.
Looking back on the Georgia game, sort of what stood out to you?
I think the way we was just focused going into the game, and just the ability to execute when we needed to, and even when they struck back and threw punches, we were still able to take the punch and fight back. So that's something to keep building on, and we're ready for this week.
Team talked about the perimeter runs sort of hurting you guys. How can you guys get better, and what's sort of missing in that area for you guys?
Yeah, I think everybody just being gap sound, and that's for corners in this fit, or if we're in cover two, the corner need to fit the edge and things like that, and also just running to the ball, just pursuing. We call ourselves Swarm D, so we got to swarm to the ball, especially on the perimeter. So that's something we've been preaching the past couple of weeks is when the ball declares, everyone gets to the ball and be violent when you get there.
How important is that for a game like this week going against a quarterback like Diego Pavia?
Yeah, super important. Pavia is definitely a playmaker, and we got to make sure we leverage across the field. We got to create a fence across the field so everyone's gap sound, and we can limit him and limit their explosive plays.
Now, speaking of their offense, what are some similarities and differences that you see from them compared to last season?
It's pretty the same offense. They do a lot more in the passing game because Pavia is definitely improved as a passer, and that just opened them up more in the passing game. But it's still the same thing for real.
Yesterday, Kane was asked, I can't remember if it was who's improved the most in pass rush or somebody who's grown. He kind of answered, and then he was like, wait, and he started talking about you and your pass rush abilities. Just kind of how have you seen yourself grow in that area, and kind of how is that a part of your game?
Yeah, that's something I'm still working on every day. Try to get with Jamie Mosley after practice every day. Try to get a little bit in because I always been like an interior rusher and been pretty good at it. But now I'm trying to widen my play a little bit and come off the edge a little bit if I need to. So that's just something I'm still working on. Just ready for my opportunity.
Yeah, you said they're kind of transitioning you or using you kind of like they used Jihad last year.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, has that been something recent or something you've been working on since fall camp?
Yeah, no doubt. Once he told me, I was super excited for it. It's something I kind of wanted to do when I first got here, but I moved to inside linebacker, and it's just been an inside thing. But super excited for the opportunity and just want to keep working.
Do you anticipate we'll see that more given the injuries to Jamarian and Quay and sort of maybe the need outside?
I wouldn't say too much. It'll be the same thing. More of a third down package type. We got guys that can still play the wolf position on base downs, but in third down packages, yes sir, I'll be out there.
How much is last year's loss to Vanderbilt still in the mind of you guys, and do you use it as fuel, or is it just something you've completely thrown out?
Man, it's hard to just throw that one out. It's definitely on the back of your mind, but you got to think, man, we got 30-some new guys on our team, and this is a whole new team, and our mindset is completely different than what it was last year. So we're looking forward to this year, and it's starting practice, and I feel like we had a great day today, great start to the weekend. We're just gonna keep building on that.
Does Pavia play faster than he looks on film? Because I've talked to other people in the past, the games we're covering him, they say he's deceptively quick. Your experience seeing him on tape and then playing him on the field, what makes him such a game breaker?
Man, like you say, he's a playmaker, and I mean, I hope you don't underestimate his speed or his quickness or anything like that off film, because anytime you're in a game, everything is moving quicker. So, yeah, he's just a playmaker, man. He can get it done with his legs, and like I said, he's definitely improved as a passer. So he's elite, and we definitely got to limit him.
Deontay, you talk about the mindset being good from last year. Are you talking about specifically between going from Georgia to Vanderbilt, or are you just talking overall?
Yeah, I'm talking about overall. I mean, that too, because I think last year we were undefeated at this time, and I don't know. I just feel like how we approach the game, the intensity in practice. I talked about that last year. Like the intensity in practice wasn't there like it was when we played Georgia, but I definitely feel like the intensity was there today, and we just got to keep building on that. And we already have an edge, man. We already have a chip on our shoulder, so we don't need nothing external to motivate us or anything like that, man. We know it's on us, and we all we need.
Justin Hill got thrown into the fire a little bit in that game. What did you see from him as a young guy out there?
Yeah, man. Talk about Jay Hill, man. Ever since he got here, he got a pro mindset, even at being a freshman, and that's not something you see all the time. But just how he does things off the field, man. I trust him on the field, like just because of what he does off the field, and he's definitely mature to be a freshman, and he definitely stepped up when he needed to, but he got to keep going.
Andrew Hill also with James going out, he got a few pressures in that game. What did you see out of him?
Yeah, Ed, man, Ed's been a baller to me. Just got his opportunity to step up when he needed to, and he did just that. He's been practicing hard as he can, and I've been pushing him in practice to keep going, and it paid off, and he just got to keep going. Got to keep it going.
You talked about defending the perimeter run and just some improvements y'all needed to make there. Just what has your message been to the defense as a captain on that front, improving in that area?
I mean, we just got to fit our gaps, man. I mean, everyone, if they get into the perimeter, that means everything's stuffed inside. So whoever got edge or whoever outside contain, they got to either contain the ball or got to show up in a run fit. So, I mean, that's something that everyone knows. It's not something I really have to say. We see when we watch the tape, so everybody just got to know to do their job on a play in and play out basis. Like you can't do your job for 20 plays out of 40, 50 plays in a game. You got to do it one play at a time, every play. So that's been a focus this week, and I'm just preaching swarm to the ball, get to the ball.
How confident are you that y'all can make those strides to become better in that area?
Man, I'm very confident. I'm very confident in this defense. We only getting better, and we're going to continue to get better because that's how we practice, and I got full faith in this.
So that was Alabama linebacker Deontay Lawson speaking to the media yesterday, and a couple quick things that I at least noted from what he had to say. He basically agreed with what we were talking about in terms of all the rushing yards we've been giving up, man. It's not so much week one, yes, it was a little bit more of a physicality thing, right? That lack of physicality, I should say. I would say week 2, 3, where after that, the yards we've been giving up more so schematically an issue in terms of not necessarily what's being called, but not being in the right fits, right? Things like that. Basically, what he was saying. So the good news is that's something to clean up. The bad news is, in my opinion, it's like if you can't figure it out by now, man. I mean, it's week 5/6 if you're counting the bye week, I guess. But you got to figure out how to set the edge, force it into the teeth of the defense. Everybody pursue the football. I mean, it's fitting the run. I mean, it's again, everybody has responsibilities. They just got to do that, and they got to do it with intensity and physicality, especially with the talent that we have. Now, the issue is we got a number of injuries now, and so that'll be interesting to see how that looks in this game, especially with the absence of James Smith in the first half as well. The other thing he noted was, him getting more opportunities in pass rush. Now, this is the second year in a row we're utilizing our starting middle linebacker as one of our key edge guys on third down. To me, I think that makes it clear as day. If you ever wondered if we lacked true edge players, right, and guys that can make a difference off the edge, I mean, there's your answer right there. Now, I know we've got injuries this year, but it sounded like he was saying he's been doing a little bit of that even before the injuries, So I don't know. I guess to me, I think we clearly need to find a way to get some more edge guys that can actually get after the quarterback because, again, 2 years in a row, your starting middle linebacker is your main guy you're moving down there. I mean, I just that's a clear sign that you don't have the depth at that spot, or at least the guys they lack, I guess, the ability to really affect the quarterback the way you would at least would like them to. That being said, we got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll hit the phone lines. We got Philip on there. We'll go to him. And then at 12:15, we'll be joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, and we'll talk a little bit more about this matchup, plus some more Alabama football. All that coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. We'll be right back. They haven't played anybody, so we'll see how good they actually are. I know you guys keep saying that, and I mean, South Carolina again wasn't a great team, or they're not a great team, but it still is an SEC team. But when you watch the tape, I mean, you still can see if a team is a good football team or not, regardless of really who they play. It's hard to tell exactly how good, which I get that's what you're saying, Hunter. But at the same time, I mean, just watching them on tape, I mean, they're a good football team. I'm not saying they're elite. I'm not saying they're going to contend for the SEC championship per se. I'm just saying, I mean, they're a good football team. And I think they look better than they did last year. I mean, I can come to those conclusions for sure. Now, are they good enough to really match up with us? You're right. That is a little bit more to be determined. But I can tell you right now, I mean, if you think we're not going to have moments that we struggle with their offense in terms of us defensively, I mean, you'd be mistaken. I definitely would say that. Now, the other way around, I think offensively, I'm not too concerned there. You agree? You just haven't been tested. Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying that offense, man. The offense is their offense. I mean, with the way they operate, it's going to cause challenges, especially given how we've looked against a lot of that stuff. So, they're a very dangerous team. Yeah, I view them as one of those teams where, like, they're not necessarily an elite team, but they do a lot of good stuff well. They're very scrappy. They play hard. And if you don't go into it right, you don't go into it playing gap sound football, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. You can fool around and look up and be like, damn, I mean, these dudes are really in this game. You know what I mean? That's how I view them. I guess that's the best way to put it. But you're right. I mean, Utah State, was it Georgia Southern? Who else have they played? Let me see. I know that South Carolina is the only SEC team they played, but I mean, they looked very solid in that game. But again, South Carolina, they lose their quarterback to injury. But they went on the road and they did that at South Carolina. So, I mean, let me see. Pull up their schedule real quick. Charleston Southern. It was Georgia State. I'm sorry. Charleston Southern. I'll just throw this on the screen real quick. Virginia Tech. South Carolina, they beat 31-7 on the road. So I get it. The rest of them, I agree, they haven't really played anybody. And you're right. I mean, once you'll know a lot more about them once they go through this gauntlet, right? Us, LSU, Missouri, Texas, Auburn. But defense is what scared you. Seems like Wyoming doesn't adjust. And that's why this game kind of, to me, I'm like, you got to respect these guys. It's because our defense, again, not playing great against the run. These guys run the hell out of the football, and they don't even do it from a traditional standpoint. I mean, they do the whole option-based attack. And you look how we looked against Florida State. Obviously, I know that was Florida State, and I know that we struggle, with even just the intangible stuff, which was a big piece. But from a schematic standpoint, you look at how we struggled to really defend Castellanos option RPO type game. I mean, it had us in a blender defensively. So, I mean, you expect to see all that and more.
Medical Center, 2 times Tuscaloosa and Tuscaloosa Chrysler G.
So, Auburn North versus FSU and Georgia, we gave up 200 plus rushing each game. Yeah, exactly. 230 apiece.
Four-time
Like 227 and 230, I think. Yeah, then you add into the equation, we've been struggling.
National champ.
Just, basic things like keep and contain. And again, if you're not playing gap sound football, that's guys not being disciplined in their responsibilities. So now throw this type of, rushing attack at them. And to me, that's a recipe for some trouble. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Previewing this Alabama-Vanderbilt matchup, we've heard from Ty Simpson and Deontay Lawson, who spoke to the media yesterday post-practice, gave their thoughts, obviously, with the win over Georgia, but a lot of talk about their upcoming opponent, the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are looking to come to Tuscaloosa and see if they can do it 2 years in a row. They beat us last year at home, but now they're looking to take on the challenge of coming to Tuscaloosa and seeing if they can do it for a second time, which allegedly Johnny Manziel claims that's the kind of S that gets statues built. So will Diego Pavia get himself a statue built after Saturday's game? I guess we'll figure that out sooner rather than later. Let's go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Philip up first. Philip, welcome in.
Good talking to you, number 47. How you doing?
I'm good, man. What's up, Philip? How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. Hey, I am perplexed and a little bit just kind of flabbergasted that we have not been able to figure out a way to get Mbakwe on the field. I know that all the receivers are really doing well right now, and he's behind them, but I just am one of these kind of hardheads that think there's a place for him somewhere at some time, maybe not as a receiver, but somewhere on that offense helping out. He's just a great athlete. I don't get it.
Well, I think it all boils down to, you look at the receiver room right now, Philip, and I'll just be honest with you, man. The best guys are going to be on the football field. It's not going to base off of, where they were ranked or their reputation or none of that. And I think it's just a clear sign right now that, look, Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, and obviously Jeremy Bernard, the most consistent of the bunch, he's not playing over any of those guys. That's just a fact. And then
I'm really not talking about those. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about as in another role somehow, some way. Like how we used Proctor the other night. Could he be used somehow as in a wildcat formation in the red zone? I'm just that type thing. I know the wide receivers have got it locked in. I understand that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't done saying. I was going to say even after them. Latsier Brooks, Rico Scott. That's literally five guys. So even if you're talking about just throwing them in there for some gimmicky stuff like you're mentioning, if that's the case, I'll be honest with you. Number one, defenses are going to know something's up. Now, I think if you're talking about like a gimmick because he did play quarterback in high school, maybe you could put him in there and consider doing some working him. Say like you run a couple screens with him or jet sweeps and you set up like a double pass knowing that he can throw the football because he's a former quarterback. I think sure, but I'll be honest with you. It's just not very common for guys like just to have like once. But you can do it, but I just think, Philip, we have so many weapons right now that you can rely on that I think they just feel more comfortable doing that. And you know what I mean? Like if they felt like putting him out there was going to make a huge difference or something like that, they would. I just think right now you just feel a lot better with the other guys they're putting out on the football field. Now return game. Return game. I think is something that you definitely could see them. Get some more opportunities there. But yeah, I think we got a lot of guys right now.
I said back in the summertime when he changed his number that he actually went to the wrong number. I think he should have picked a number that would have still enabled him to play some defense. And I think that was a thing that he kind of did wrong right there, because him picking number 3 now negates him from being on the same side of the field as Sabb's on. Mm-hmm. So I wish he would revisit that. I think he can. I don't think it's too late. I think that was a decision that still sort of haunted him. And that's a small thing to talk about, but it's
No, that's a really good point.
Listen.
No, well, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. The number thing. Now, technically, they just like they do on special teams, you could throw like a jersey over, but you're right. That's way too complicated at that point. It almost makes it not worth it. But the reality was he hadn't even really been working anything defensively. So I guess that's probably why he just went ahead. But you're right. I guess for insurance purposes, maybe he should have just considered that. But I think he was set on making the switch to the offense side of the ball. And to be fair, I mean, like he made plays during camp. I'm not saying that he's not even close to maybe cracking a spot to getting some more reps. It's just the 5 guys we discussed earlier. I mean, those guys are the clear top 5 guys. We hadn't even mentioned yet a Cole Adams or Jalen Hale, who both have shown in the past that they already can contribute, right? They did it already. So, I mean, I think, unfortunately, man, he's just in a tough spot where there's just so much depth over there. There's just really just not any room for him right now, which I personally think he should have stayed on defense, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think, I know. I mean, he was getting reps as a true freshman, and maybe he just didn't want to play that position. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the opportunity for him to get on the field was much better at that spot, and I thought he was doing a damn good job. Not even about just him playing, but I thought he looked good.
I agree.
And the thing was, he didn't even really play it. Remember, because he in high school, I don't know how much he even played at corner. I think that all was new. So I was like, all right, he did that as a freshman. Because I remember last fall camp, every time I was up there, they kept raving like, man, this dude. He's a athlete coming out of high school, hadn't really played much DB, but man, he's been really impressing us during camp. And that's why you saw him get so many opportunities. I can only imagine that he would have continued to progress and get even better at that spot. But man, I don't know, man. I guess he just really wanted to play receiver.
Yeah. Well, if he's listening, I think we've got a number 14 available.
What was he wearing before? What was his other number? Do you remember? I don't even remember.
I believe
9?
he was.
Was
Yeah,
it 9
so.
maybe?
I believe it was, yeah.
Maybe go back to that. I don't know. Wait, no, you got who's wearing 9? Richard Young on offense?
That's Richard Young. Yeah, I've looked at the roster, and I think I like him so much. I've actually spent 10 minutes looking at the roster, and I think I came up with number 14 the other day.
Well, we'll see if that. I'll be honest. He hadn't been working it, so I don't really see that happen this season unless something.
No, not right now. Not unless something devastating happens.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see what happens at the end of the year. I'm not trying to jump ahead, but I mean, he got in the portal once. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe looked elsewhere. But yeah, I wish he would have stayed on defense. Just being honest with you, I think he would have had a much bigger impact there. But you aren't wrong, Philip. I do feel like he could. I mean, like a gadget guy. I mean, again, especially being a former quarterback. As a defense, I would still say before we go real quick. We used to always, if they had a receiver, like the opposing team had a receiver that played quarterback, we always would have notes of that and know that there's a potential for some trick and gimmick type stuff to come up. So that could cause, some type of, I don't know, confusion or something. So maybe you're right. Maybe you give him a couple little snaps here or there to do some stuff like that.
Yep. Hey, good talking to you, man.
Always, Philip. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, brother. Take care.
Yes, sir. You too.
Good deal. All right, we got to hit this time out. When we come back, we'll be joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
If you find yourself in a wreck, keep 3 things in mind. First, call the police. Second, take pictures of the scene. Third, call me. I'm attorney Steven Mizrano, and I win. My firm is committed to fighting the big insurance companies and making sure you get the money you deserve. Call today for a free consultation. I don't get paid unless I win for you. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
No, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey guys, don't miss the grand opening of Primetime Men's Clinic in Northport, October 2nd from 4:30 to 7 p.m. There will be live music, bourbon tasting, hair restoration demo, IV hydration, testosterone therapy, lots of discounts. And
What do you guys think about that? Oh, Cavante Henry's 14. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think he is. Would you guys be down to move or put Mbakwe in there in just some certain situations? Or I just feel like maybe every now and then a couple of things, but I just feel you got so many good playmakers, man. I'd rather use Ryan, Jeremy, Latzia, Brooks at this spot. Wait, what am I doing? All right, let's see. Let me post this. All right. Sorry, I had to get that put out there real quick. Let's see. Where are we at?
Free online visit. Through HIMS, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form, and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio. HIMS.com/RADIO.
95.3 The Bear and Sports.
Oh, man. Special teams about it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, there's so many. I mean, it's honestly crazy to think about, guys. I mean, literally, the starting three, right? You got a three-headed monster there. Brooks, Rico Scott. And then, Cole Adams, remember, they're calling him Mr. Reliable for a reason, right? I mean, and the dude, he's a good player. Jalen Hale, before the injury, was looking like wide receiver one. And then you throw in, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. Whoever we just were talking about, I'm forgetting his name already.
Tide 100.9.
Dang, that's bad. I really forgot dude's name already. All right, good deal. All right, we got Clint.
Beverages or grab a bite before or after the game. The Tide Tailgate Show is presented by Pearl River Resort.
All right. No, not Ryan Williams. Mbakwe, sorry. I'm doing a million things at once, so. But yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up transferring. Only because he transferred or got in the portal last year, so it's not like it'd be anything groundbreaking. But there's just not
And by Druid City Regional Medical.
But who knows? Though? Because think about it. Because Bernard will be leaving. This is Horton's last year, or does he have another year? I'd imagine it's
sunny, a
last
small
year.
chance of a shower through early
I could be
tonight.
wrong.
The high today 88, tonight's low 63. For tomorrow and Friday, a good supply of sunshine both days. Highs between 82 and 85. I'm James Spann with the Alabama Weather Network on Tide 100.9. It's 80 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts, where we're now joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. I'm sure you guys have seen his content. Does a lot of good work covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. But I think it's Clint's first time joining us here on the Miller's Edge. Clint, welcome in, man.
I appreciate it, Christian. How you doing today, man?
Oh, man, I can't complain, man. Another day, another dollar talking some football. But no, I appreciate you taking the time to jump on here, man. I enjoy your work, man. You do a lot of good stuff. I like your breakdowns, and I wanted to get you on here to talk some football, man. So I guess without further ado, jump right into it, man. First off, I know we're on to Vanderbilt, but I do want to just get your initial thoughts. I guess our brief thoughts over the Alabama win over Georgia. Obviously, I know a lot of people were, I guess you could say, concerned, right? Going on the road, that was probably one of the biggest question marks remaining after week one. Obviously, the physicality and intensity have returned to this team. We saw a lot better execution offensively, but the biggest question still was, can this team go on the road and play a 60-minute game and show up the way we know that they can? And that's exactly what they did. But what were your brief, just, I guess, takeaways from that 24-21 victory over Georgia?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. I think them being able to go on the road, play winning football was a perfect no, but it was a hostile environment. It was a tough, whether you're talking about tough defense, tough offense, but they played good football at moments on both sides of the football. And I think probably the most important thing for me, outside of the fact that they, took this performance on the road, which was a major question mark, but it was also in the way that they did it. Like, I felt like in a lot of instances, they took the fight to Georgia, which was the complete polar opposite from what we had seen against Florida State, where Florida State kind of took the fight to Alabama. So many questions that people had as far as, righting the ship and what we had seen against Florida State. You can only take away so much from Louisiana Monroe or Wisconsin. I think this was a great testament for the turnaround that these guys have had. And, I think the next big test is obviously, can you handle success? We know you can handle adversity and respond when a lot of things are against you, but can you continue that when people start singing your praises? That will be the next step. But I think the Georgia game was a fantastic job of everybody kind of coming together. Thought Ty Simpson played really well. Thought the offensive line did some good things and took some steps in the right direction. A lot of different guys making plays at wide receiver. Bray Hubbard continues to play with his hair on fire. Some other good things defensively. So it was a great performance overall.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And talking about consistency, I feel like that's kind of been the tail of the tape for Kalen DeBoer and this staff. I mean, even just going back to last year, like you said, I mean, the big win over Georgia, I just remember, how on top of the world everybody was. And immediately the team that we're about to face, we go on the road to face them and then kind of lay an egg and lose a game to a Vanderbilt football team that at the time people kind of were looking at as, oh, it's Vanderbilt. But I think now we know a little bit more about this program under Clark Lee, and obviously he's done a fantastic job turning it around. And speaking of that next challenge, Clint, I mean, obviously we know Diego Pavia, he's a confident guy. And not only that, I mean, he backs it up on the football field. I mean, I've been watching this tape, and I'm sure you've been watching a lot of them as well. But obviously they present a lot of challenges, right? They've got that option-based attack, but they've expanded onto it this year, throwing the football a little bit more, a little more confidence in him passing the football. How do you see this defense handling that, right? We're talking about a defense that has given up 200-plus yards twice now to Florida State and Georgia. This is one of the top rushing teams that we'll see in Vanderbilt so far through the season. Not to mention, and this is, I guess, probably a two-part. So I guess the first part is, how do you see this team kind of handling this challenge? But two, does it cause you some concern like it does me, knowing that your two starting outside backers? I know Deontay Pierre was kind of a co-starter as well, but you're talking about Jamarian Latham and Quay Russaw, right? If you go back to week one, those are your two, base starting outside backers. They're both out, right, for a while. And now you've got Deontay Pierre, who I wouldn't necessarily say is the most, I guess, sturdy guy when it comes to, setting the edge, stopping the run. And then you've got a true freshman in Justin Hill, really talented, but really young. Those guys having to take on this Vanderbilt option attack with Diego Pavia. And then you even add into that, James Smith is going to be out the first half due to that targeting penalty. Is there any concern in terms of this defense's ability to stop Vanderbilt, especially that option-based attack?
Yeah, I definitely think that is a big question mark going into the game. Last year, I feel like Alabama they went typically in the past, they've matched personnel. And just last year, as far as, going 12 personnel and 21, and, even this year, you're seeing a lot of, maybe not a lot, but some 30 personnel with 3 running backs on the field. Like typically Alabama, Kane Womack has kind of matched personnel. Like last week against Georgia, a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of kind of 3-4 looks was the plan. That's something that when against Vanderbilt, they went with kind of a standard base 4-2-5 defense, and they kind of stayed in it. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that was the plan based off of what Vanderbilt gives you horizontally, and maybe they wanted a little bit more athleticism on the field, but just some run-heavy looks that weren't being responded to with run-heavy personnel on defense. I don't know if that will get switched around, but one thing I do know is that Alabama, I mean, you've also talked about Jeremiah Beeman being lost for the season. So a couple of interior defensive linemen out for the first half at least, a couple of your key edge guys out for the game for sure, and a lot longer than that, obviously. Some guys got to be able to step up, and just what Vanderbilt's doing right now as far as, getting you moving horizontally east-west a lot, but then their ability to kind of attack more downfield in the passing game, that's something that I don't think you had to worry about that consistently from Florida State. I don't think you had to worry about that from Vanderbilt consistently last year. That adds a different wrinkle to this Vanderbilt offense this year, and I'll be curious to see how Alabama responds, because going into the season, we were all really high on the secondary. I think they've had some really good moments. They've also had some issues in some areas at times, but the front seven is really or the front really is where you want to be focusing in on, because I think Vanderbilt, they've gotten a little bit bigger with their offensive line. I think they're playing with a little bit more physicality up front. They've got a stable of running backs. They use a lot of different tight ends, different body types that can do different things. They just throw a lot of different things at you. And up to this point, it was kind of like, last week the question was, can you go on the road and carry some of these performances on the road? Now, they responded to that question. Now it's, can this defense, when they're facing this style of offense that's going to present those challenges, can they step up to the plate? And we're not asking anybody to hold them to a goose egg or 3 or 7 points or something, but can you go out there and get stops consistently where, your offense can maybe try to create some sort of separation? Last year, they put themselves in an immediate hole, allowing a touchdown and then a pick six, puts you down 14 points early, completely changes the dynamic of the game, both for Vanderbilt and plays into their hand, kind of was against what Alabama was wanting to do. They won't have that advantage, or at least hopefully they won't have that advantage this year, but can you go out there and get the needed stops for your offense? Because I think while Vanderbilt's playing a lot better defensively too, in my opinion, and that's kind of getting glossed over, I do think that there are some gettable areas on that defense. So I think Alabama will be able to score some points, but the big question is, can they get the stops they need to?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. And the good news is they did last week, and when it mattered most, right? I mean, I think the second half, last week's game was kind of a tale of two halves, right? First half offensively, definitely doing the job and putting up points and doing what they need to do. The second half, we didn't score any points, but defense had some big stops, led by LT Overton. When Georgia had the opportunity to kick a field goal, they almost, I thought they got that conversion on third down, but they were marked short. They went hurry up tempo, and LT Overton made a nice play in the backfield. But you're right, those stops will be important. I can see this game kind of being one of those types of games where Vanderbilt's probably going to have success on offense, but can our defense find a way when we need them to in those critical moments? Flipping on the other side of the football, Clint, I mean, obviously this offense has been firing on all cylinders. Ty Simpson has been, laser sharp at the quarterback position, not only with his accuracy, but just his ability to move in the pocket, even pre-snap. I mean, he has just been one of the, really most impressive quarterbacks of college football this far. Ryan Williams has been a little inconsistent, but obviously Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton, those guys have been really impressive as well, not to mention Latsier Brooks, Rico Scott also stepping up. But I think what really was the most impressive to me last week, Clint, was the ability to protect and keep Ty clean. Now, I know there's an argument there that Georgia's defensive line hadn't recorded a sack and they're not as good as they've once been. But in this matchup, I know you talked about Vanderbilt's defense. I think they're one of the top run-stopping defenses. They hadn't had the most competition yet, but do you feel like obviously the passing game, I think we both can agree, should be a big key in this game. I agree with you. There's some definite vulnerabilities in their secondary, but do you feel like we continue to try to establish that running game in this matchup, Clint, or do you feel like we see what we've seen the last couple of weeks where Ryan Grubb has used extensions of the running game, getting Jeremy Bernard some carries, whether it's jet sweep action or even just the screen game? Do you see that still being the key, I guess, element to try to get those quote-unquote rushing yards, or do you see us still trying to work at getting, some traditional running game going?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a combination of things. I don't think they're going to give up as far as trying to establish a more traditional run game, but they do have those other elements that they can kind of turn to or lean on if they need to. I did think that the addition of Will Sanders and then, of course, playing Wilkin Formby some at guard, I thought that was interesting because I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, why is that? And granted, it could just be that Will Sanders is playing really good football in practice and he's kind of forcing his way onto the field. And I certainly think that's a part of it and a strong possibility. But when you look at this guy in high school, very limited experience in his high school offense and pass protection. But one thing that we know this guy could do is he can pull. He's extremely athletic. He can get out in space, lock on a moving target, and get guys blocked. I've kind of wondered, like a lot of tackle-to-tackle stuff, and I do think that they'll continue to try to do some of that, but that's hard to do in college football nowadays. Trying to run the football tackle-to-tackle just with all the stunts and different things the defensive lines are doing, it's difficult. So are they trying to become a more efficient or more effective perimeter rushing offense? You've got good blockers at receiver. Obviously Jam, when he's being asked to lead block, he can get out there in space and get guys blocked. You're putting some more athleticism on your offensive line rather than a bigger body Ken Dewberry or a limited athletically Gino Vandermark. That's something that I'll be keeping an eye on. I do think that they're trying to work things out where they can have more complementary pieces to the passing game. They know they're going to get that with the screens and the quick passes and guys who can create yardage after the catch and all that. But maybe the tackle-to-tackle stuff isn't as effective as you would like for it to be. Maybe that improves over time. But I do think they're trying to get some sort of running game going, whether that's out on the perimeter or whatever. But another element of that I think could help is Danny Lewis. I thought he did some good things in the run game. I thought he was a good, effective blocker. You can tell that he wasn't 100% healthy, but I think the further he gets from that lower body injury, the better and more effective he's going to be. Maybe that ends up helping some. And then just Jam Miller getting back, handled a lot of volume, but you wouldn't, I don't know if he was 100% going into that game. And even if he was, there was probably some rust that needed to be knocked off. So I would expect him to continue to, get better as the season progresses. Like the combination with him and Kevin Riley, I think there's a lot of explosiveness there. And that would also lend to doing a little bit more as far as keeping them involved in the passing game, but also attacking the perimeter because they got a lot of explosiveness. I could see that kind of becoming the identity of this offense on the ground, complementing what I suspect is going to continue to be a very strong passing attack.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I agree. And I think they're just kind of trucking along. And as they go, they're still kind of figuring themselves out. Just like you mentioned, the addition of all those guys on the offensive line, I think they're just working it, trying to find the best groups. But to your point about Will Sanders, man, now he's been a beast at practice over the last year or so, man, and he's just been pushing for more playing time. And it was interesting to see all those guys get those reps. And I was a little worried about all that rotating, especially in such a big matchup. But the fact that we played so well, and I think the only guy that really gave a pressure and maybe a hit was Vandermark. Really impressive just to know that you have so much depth. And I'm excited for the guys moving forward, knowing how valuable that experience is for all those young guys as they move forward and continue to get their feet wet, especially as we continue in the SEC play. Clint, real quick, man, I appreciate you hopping on again. We are joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. Again, you can check out all his good work at Cover Crimson, also on his Twitter page, or his X page, I should say, Clint R. Lamb. Clint, what's your just overall outlook on this matchup as a whole in terms of how it goes, man? I think the line now is around 10 or so. It might have gone down a little bit. I know a lot of people in our chat have been, a lot of people are like, oh, we know Vanderbilt hadn't played anybody, but I watched them on tape, and I think they're a solid football team that you have to respect. Do you feel like this ends up being one of those close games where it kind of, comes down to it, they play us pretty tough, or do you feel like with, our explosiveness on offense, even though they might present some challenges for our defense, we still kind of pull away and win handsomely in this game?
Well, I'll go ahead and say, I mean, I picked the score earlier, and I think that video will be coming out tomorrow, but I'll go ahead and say it here too. I can see Alabama winning by double digits. I don't think it's going to be any sort of, 21-point win or anything like that. I could see scenarios where it does work out that way. I mean, Diego Pavia, he does take some risk, and man, does that pay off for him sometimes. But if you can capitalize on some of those risks and turn them into your favor, they can create that separation that they need where it ends up being a much larger victory for Alabama. But I could also see plenty of scenarios where Vanderbilt comes in and wins this football game. Like this is one of those where, because of the uncertainty with what Vanderbilt does offensively and the trouble that it has caused Alabama, and the fact that you got a guy leading that team like Diego Pavia, who is completely fearless. He's not coming into Tuscaloosa scared of anybody or anything. You just never know with those types of players. But I do think Alabama's going to have a better game plan for him defensively this year. Does he bring another element that he didn't have last year? Yes, that does add to the question of the entire thing. But I think offensively, Alabama's going to have enough. They've got to keep Ty Simpson upright. I think Vanderbilt presents a lot more challenges as far as their pass rush than Georgia. But, at the same time, I think the offensive line is really starting to come together. They got plenty of weapons in the passing game. The scheme, in a lot of ways, protects the offensive line and protects the pass protection. So I think that they're going to have success offensively, and I think they have a little bit of success running the football too, if I'm speaking candidly. And so I do think Alabama's going to escape this game, maybe like a 37-27 type of victory. But there's no doubt, I mean, Vanderbilt is probably going to get some of theirs. It's just a matter of what has Kane Wommack in this defense schemed up to try to limit that as much as possible.
No doubt about it, man. Great stuff, man. I absolutely love what you're doing, and appreciate you hopping on and joining us. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you got a lot of stuff you got to tend to, but before we let you go, Clint, please tell the listeners, man, where they can find all your content and keep up to date with all the good stuff that you're doing.
Absolutely. First of all, appreciate you, Christian. I think you do a phenomenal job, one of the best in the business. You can find me at the Cover Crimson YouTube channel, and then also you can find me on Twitter at Clint R. Lamb. Certainly love engaging with everybody over there. So once again, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, man, appreciate the compliments. And absolutely, man, you're welcome anytime. We'll definitely have to keep doing some work together, man. Appreciate you, Clint.
Absolutely. Good talking to you, Christian.
Yes, sir. You too, brother. Good deal. That was Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. Like he said, you can catch them. CoverCrimson.com is the website. Cover Crimson on YouTube. And then his personal X account, Clint R. Lamb. He does a lot of nice stuff covering Alabama football. So make sure you guys check all those sources out there as well. And hopefully we can continue getting them on here, man. That was a really good job breaking all that good stuff down. So hope you guys enjoyed that. We got to hit a quick timeout. We come back. We'll respond. Got some more things we got to cover before we get out of here, but we are open on the phone lines, I believe, 205-342-9904 if you guys want to jump on and respond to what Clint had to say as well. And we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. We'll be right back.
Your flagship home of Alabama sports. We are a
good stuff, man. That was good. They've got Coker on there a lot too. Yeah, I think Coker's on with Mick, man. Which I got a bone to pick with Coker, man. Coker always, man. I'm gonna hop on there whenever, man. Every time I hit him up, oh man, I'm flooded today. I'm like, all right, man. No, I'm just I'm giving him a hard time. We'll get Coker on here too, though. He just the problem is the timing of it, because he does. I think he have like insurance thing he does, something like that. So the time's always kind of off because he's always got a lot of meetings around this time. But that's my guy, man. Coker's hilarious, bro. Me and Coker go way back. We oh, it's funny. We got some funny hunting stories. But we used to do a little bit of hunting together when we played here. But that's a good dude right there, man. Coker's great. And he's doing a hell of a job, too, with all his coverage that he does with Mick over on Bama Tailgate. Let's see. If you guys haven't, man, if you could just drop us a like, we appreciate that. It always helps us out, man. Where should we go from here? We're open on the phone lines. I'm trying to think of. We never got to the coordinator stuff. I want to get to that, but I know we're a couple days behind on that. But I feel like we still can hit that. Yeah, let's see. I at least want to hear from Kane Womack talk about this Vanderbilt offense. So we might as well just keep this a Vanderbilt offense focus day. We'll talk a little bit more about the defense. Clint's right though. I mean, they do a good job up front though. They do a nice job up front. Wait, where am I at? Might need to put my dad on a milk cart, man. I hadn't heard from him in a minute. Cutie said, Kane. Oh, is Jake also on Cover Crimson? I thought Jake was with Mick. I know Mick does the Cover Crimson stuff. I've seen him in Clint. I don't think I've seen maybe he is on there. I get it confused. I could be wrong. Oh, the teleconference. There you go. Thank you, Dwight. That's right. That is Wednesday. I knew I was forgetting something. QD, it's your lucky day, man. We'll transfer from we'll take a detour. We'll go to the teleconference because we want to hit that. Oh wait, let me follow them. Let's see. You tagged us in it. Oh yeah. Appreciate that, Dwight. And while we listen to the teleconference, I'll just clip up I'll clip up, not clip up, but I'll find exactly what I want to hear from Kane. I just want to hear him talk a little bit about this matchup. I don't really need to hear too much about I guess the comment. I need to go back and watch more from that Georgia game and really see the plays that he's referring to. He said something about 6 plays for 171 yards on the perimeter. The two we played yesterday, remember guys, those 2 plays, those were interior runs, right? Those weren't even perimeter runs. Those were interior runs. That was like 60 yards. So I'm a little confused on his comment about that. T-shirt saying stop mugging. Hey, look, and again, I want to I want to be clear. Mugging on 3rd down, like pressures, that's totally different, right? That's expected. It's the early 30% down off mugs, which I should have asked Clint about that too. Couple bounces. Maybe. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, where we were just joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson here, discussing that a little bit from the Georgia game. Got his thoughts on that initially. Then we moved along and talked a good deal about Alabama, Vanderbilt. Clint did a really good job breaking down his thoughts in terms of the matchups in this game, the threats that you could see from Diego Pavia and company with Vanderbilt coming to town this weekend. So if you guys missed that, obviously, you can just rewind a little bit here on the YouTube stream right now. But if you go back, obviously, everything saves on here. So you can go back and check that out. Really good interview, again, with Clint. We'll definitely try to get him on here a little bit more in the future. Does a really good job with this stuff. Again, at Cover Crimson, and then Clint R. Lamb on X is where you can find all the work that he does. So I appreciate having him on here. All right, it is a Wednesday, and thank you, Dwight, for this because he reminded me it is the teleconference day, right? So the coaches joined the SEC teleconference, and Kalen DeBoer had his turn around 11:30. So let's go play catch up and hear what the head coach had to say on this Wednesday edition of the SEC Coaches Teleconference.
Will be next up on the call today. The Crimson Tide will host Vanderbilt on Saturday at 2:30 Central on ABC. For questions for Coach, please use the raise hand function. And Coach, while I wait on those questions, if you could take a moment to comment on your squad as you prepare for this week's home game versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it's good to be back home after going on the road. proud of our guys and the success we had last weekend in a tough environment against a really good football team, and we got to prepare to do it again. Vanderbilt, extremely well coached and talented, playing a high level of football right now, undefeated. And there's excitement on their end, and we got to make sure we do a great job preparing because they can pose a lot of problems for you in a lot of ways.
First up, we have Mike Rodak of 24/7.
Yeah, Kalen, looks like Keon Sabb wasn't out there at the end of the Georgia game. Just wanted to see if there was an update on him and just kind of what you've seen from the safety position in general.
Yeah, no, he'll be playing on Saturday. He'll be playing on Saturday. And, I think the safeties have continued to get better. I think all of them have, especially Keon, since we brought him up, his volume has continued to increase working through fall camp. And, I think he's getting better and better each week, more comfortable just physically. And, I thought he's played his best football here as of late. And Bray's just done a really good job the last couple of weeks, leading the charge. He's playing hard-nosed. He's, in the right places and making the plays that we need, whether it's getting interceptions or forcing fumbles.
Next is Colin Gay of the Tuscaloosa News.
Hey, Kalen, there's been a lot of talk about Diego Pavia, what the Vanderbilt offense can do. I'm curious of what you guys have seen as you game plan for Vanderbilt's defense heading into Saturday.
You asked about Diego, but then the Vanderbilt defense. All right, which one do you want?
No, I'm saying there's been a lot of talk about Diego Pavia in the offense. But what have you seen from their defense?
Okay, I got you. Well, I just think they're sound. They pick and choose their times to be really aggressive and come after you. But they play team football and they get off the field and get the ball back to their offense. There's a physicality that they have. Again, their assignment sound, and if just everyone does a good job focusing on their job, and they get guys on the ground. They are good tacklers.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next is Mike Griffith with the AJC.
Yeah, Coach, just kind of a generalized question as far as like script and plays. You always hear about teams going in with plays scripted coming out. Obviously, there's a ton of in-game adjustments. I guess I'm just kind of wondering on your general philosophy and what you can share as far as maybe deciphering some of that, putting it in layman's terms, explaining what's prepared and what's adjusted when you go into games, how that works.
Sure. I think the best way to explain how we've done it going back a long time, and we have a bank of plays, and for the most part we try to have an order to it, especially with your normal down and distances, your first and second downs, as long as you're within being in the chain, not behind the chains. And so we really try to make sure it's about getting guys touches and seeing different looks that we might get out of certain formations, and obviously running the stuff that we do well. So, there's a bank of plays. We have an order that we try to stick to, but it doesn't mean we have to. And so, again, you get the ball all of a sudden sometimes in the red zone, you're going to come off that script and you're going to run your red zone plays that you've practiced. And so, and obviously third down and those special situations as well.
And just following up, you used some timeouts. I know that crowd noise is always a factor. I think you guys were able to avoid any sort of motion penalties. You might have had one in there, but how important was it that Ty knew when to take those timeouts? And was some of that related, you think, to the game environment, or were those timeouts based on looks, as you recall?
Yeah, I think certainly one was probably just us wanting to check into a play or not liking the look, and that's always going to be the case. And in the first half, I want Ty never taking a snap where he doesn't feel comfortable. We don't want that at any point, but in the second half, you got to really be careful with your timeouts. And we did have a a situation where the substitution piece, took too much time off the clock, both from our end substituting and then, of course, the opponent doing their thing with our late substitution, working the clock down to where we had to take a timeout.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Next will be Steve Moulton of WZZN.
Coach, appreciate the time. Hope you're doing well today, sir.
You do. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Given at least here in this state of so much talked about last year in that game in Nashville, and then just keeping your edge and what you mentioned about after the Florida State game, tell me about this fine line of maybe not putting too much on last year's game because it's obviously last year, Coach.
It wasn't easy being a meathead.
Commercial break. I don't. Not easy being a meathead. Not too sure about that whole thing. I think they're talking about beef jerky. But anyway, all right. And we'll be back in 3, 2, and 1.
Andrew.
Yeah, no, good question. I think everything you do is about learning, and everything you've been through together is about taking what you've been through, taking what you see from other people, and applying it to be the best you can be. And we use the 1-0 mantra a lot, and it's about moving forward. When you make mistakes, you own it, you accept it if it's something just happened, unfortunately, not in your favor, but you always move forward. And I think our guys have done a great job of balancing, having an edge, learning from, and also learning from, what we've been through, and, not trying to make the same mistakes twice, whatever that might be schematically, just mindset wise going into a week of practice and a game, any and all of the above. And so I'm proud of the way the guys have responded. I knew they cared, just needed to really make sure that, everyone's heading the same direction and has the right mindset going each and every week so we can execute at a high level.
And Coach, I heard Clark Lee yesterday, at least expressing his thoughts on your team, comparing this team to your second team at Washington that went all the way to the title game. Do you see any comparisons between that team at Washington and this Alabama team, Coach?
I think there's probably a style of play in some cases, especially offensively, that might apply. Coach Lee's a defensive minded, even as the head coach, you can probably watch a little bit more of that. But I think the other piece is just, you continue to take steps, and improve on what you were. And that should happen from year to year. That should happen from game to game. So that might be what he's seeing.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. So that was head coach Kalen DeBoer during today's SEC coaches teleconference discussion over the phone that happened a little bit earlier today. So wanted to get that on there. And obviously he discussed a number of things there. I do want to hit a couple of things real quick before we get out of here. We got about 2 or 3 minutes, if that. But I know we were talking about Kane Womack's comments on the run. And I went back and pulled up this Georgia highlight just because I knew it'd have some of those explosives. And real quick, if you guys are watching on the stream, you can see this. If not, no worries, I'll explain it. But this is one that came later. This would be considered on the perimeter. I counted 2, maybe 3 that actually were on the interior. That's why I was confused. I've still only counted maybe 3 or 4 at the most that actually did go on the perimeter. That being said, so here you go. And let me just change this real quick. I just want to hit this real fast. And I'll recap it tomorrow as well, since I only got about a minute or so. But as you see here, this is just a quick example of what's happening, right? So they're spreading you out. They go quarterback, design, run. All right, so Gunner takes it immediately. He knows what he's doing. We're in a tight front, right? So a tight front, what that means is you've got a 4-eye, a 0 nose, and a 4-eye. All right. So one of the backers should be an A-gap player. Other one's more like a flow player. If I had to guess, you see Deontay taking on either the center or the guard, but he's the A-gap player here, right? That being said, you see Justin Jefferson. So you see the tight front, right? You've got B-gap player here, A-gap player, B-gap player. So you got one other A-gap player. Then he should, and Justin Jefferson that is, should be flowing and should end up right out here. because you already got guys. You guys can see you got a nose and a defensive end / tackle in those gaps in the interior, right? They got it covered. He gets nosy. He sticks his nose down in there. So this is what I'm saying about like gap sound football. You got to just do your job. He gets nosy. He's putting his nose down in there, doesn't have business in there. And then you see up top, I think that's the Husky or whoever it is, trying to set the edge. Too soft of an edge, right? You're getting bullied by that receiver. He at least is in position. And then Damani Jackson is not paying attention and gets his head knocked off almost by that guy. And there you go. Gunnar Stockton taking off, and he's got to see that edge right there. That's a bad ball right there. So that one you can clean up, man. Just got to fix gaps. Fix your gap integrity there. But I'll put that back on the tape tomorrow. That way we can really look at those big plays in the running game and see how we need to fix them. But that'll do it for us. Big thanks to Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson joining us today. Big thanks to Chase Behind the Glass, Reed as well. All of our listeners, Tide 100.9 and on our stream at the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Stores. America's Art Sport Experts. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.